Violence has no place in civic life, and it certainly cannot continue to be used against the President of the United States.
Let this be a message to anyone who thinks that Washington, D.C. is the place to act out political violence. We will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law.
The President spoke on late Saturday evening with the message of unity and a backing of law enforcement, and we have followed through on that message.
DOJ officials briefing the public following the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday. This incident intensifying the debate on Capitol Hill over DHS funding, as the Secret Service has still not been paid, still working to protect the president. One Secret Service official was shot Saturday, but expected to recover. President Trump is urging the House pass full funding for DHS. Here's what he wrote on Truth Social. We need all Republicans join together, support this budget blueprint, which will allow us to bypass Democrat obstruction in the Senate. House Republicans need to unify, pass the same blueprint to get the bill done. I've asked for the final bill on my desk by June 1st. I want to bring in Florida Congressman Brian Mast. He chairs House Foreign Affairs. Congressman, first to this, because House Speaker Mike Johnson says he wants to push for a modified bill, which raises the possibility of even more delays. But I just read you what the president wrote on Truth Social. Your reaction to that?
We need to pay these individuals. So just agree with that, number one, right? You have Secret Service agents at the Correspondents' Dinner. You have Coast Guard in Iran or all around the United States of America, ICE, Border Patrol, everybody else that's under this umbrella. They're all probably within 15 to 30 days of not receiving a paycheck again, because at a certain point, the president can't do what he's been doing, which is finding the money in the couch cushions, so to say. So what Speaker Johnson needs to do, he needs to review what the Senate has sent over under this budget reconciliation process. That's what this is. It's very specific, that allows the Senate to actually get something through. In the House, that means that we have to take up this budget resolution, number one, and then after that budget resolution goes through, then we can move to what is the specific appropriation for Homeland Security. So one has to take place first, then the other one. So we have to get to it, hopefully getting to it on Wednesday.
Okay, so on Wednesday. Okay, so we're going to be watching for that. I do want to ask you about what's going on in Florida, because Florida lawmakers beginning a special session today to consider newly proposed congressional maps that have been unveiled by Governor DeSantis. He says the new map adjusts for the state's rapid growth. It could give Republicans up to 4 additional seats. Now, in Virginia, the Supreme Court is weighing the legality of the Commonwealth's new redistricting map after a state court blocked its implementation. That is set to give Democrats a 10-to-1 advantage if it's officially approved. Congressman, I want to get your reaction and expectations for today, in particular in Florida, in this move to redistrict.
Yeah, any state, certainly my state, the state of Florida, or whether in Virginia or anywhere else, we don't want to see political gerrymandering. We want to see honest seats that are drawn that represent what is the makeup of that specific state. And in the state of Florida, the makeup is overwhelmingly red. It needs to be represented in that way, drawn in that way, not where you draw specific seats to say, okay, we're going to draw this this 10-mile stretch that's just as wide as the median of the highway so we can connect multiple groups because we want to specifically draw an African-American district. That's political gerrymandering. You can't have that take place. It needs to come to an end anywhere across the country. Glad it's coming to an end in Florida.
Well, look, you know, President Trump carried Florida by 56% in the 2024 election. So there is the support there. We'll see how this goes today. I want to ask you about this. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders is expected to host this panel discussion on the Hill tomorrow, alongside a professor at a CCP-funded Beijing university. They're going to focus on AI existential risk and international cooperation. Now, the senator says he wants to push a proposal for an AI data center moratorium. The critics are slamming the event in total. They say it's going to hurt the U.S., and it's going to push to stay, you know, as we're pushing ahead to stay of China in the AI race. And this is something Maria has covered extensively in the program. If we don't get ahead of AI, China will, Congressman. Your reaction to what the senator's doing with this panel?
Yeah, the Democrat socialist Bernie Sanders is probably closer to Xi Jinping than he is to the president. I don't think he has any problem trying to weaken the United States of America as it relates to the most forefront of military operations, of data crunching, weapon systems, all things related to AI. I think he's working to box the United States of America in. This is something that when you look at data centers, it's being dealt with at local and state levels to decide where these are going to take place, where they're going to be in somebody's backyard, how far out from areas of of municipalities that they need to be. That's all being dealt with at local and state levels. But for Senator Sanders to go and work with China, who is actively working, let's say right now, with Iran to provide Iran with targets of the United States of America or to move in missile and drone parts, there's no place for this whatsoever. He doesn't belong at the table with them. He needs to leave these kind of negotiations to the president and when he meets with Xi Jinping.
Yeah, all right. Well, and we will see if that meeting takes place as well. The president is reportedly shutting down Iran's latest peace proposal over its lack of attention to the country's nuclear program. One of the president's hard red lines, Tehran's offered to reopen the strait if the U.S. lifts the blockade, ends the conflict immediately. Now, Kepler is reporting that Iran could run out of oil storage within 12 to 22 days. Congressman, you chair House Foreign Affairs. I want to get your reaction to this. In particular, there's some extensive reporting in the Journal this morning. And the quote is, Iran is flooded with so much unsold oil, it's stashing it in derelict tanks. It's called tank topping. Is this economic blockade of Iran, do you think, what is going to finally push the Iranians to come back to the negotiating table?
It's not just that they're looking for places to store it, by the way. It's also they are burning it off because they do not have enough storage for all this. The economic blockade that the president very wisely put in place is absolutely working. That and the other forms of maximum pressure that, as you put on Iran, is absolutely working. Iran has an ability to intimidate the Straits of Hormuz. They do not have a total ability to close the Straits of Hormuz. So these needs to be the two biggest things that are in this negotiation. Number one, they're not going to have any control over using straits as a tollway for themselves. And number two, there can't be nukes. There can't be those ballistic missiles. Those programs have to come to an end. The president is in the right position right now to say, okay, we have this ceasefire that is more durable than most are giving it credit for. And really, Iran needs this far more than the United States of America does. So let's let them come to the table with more offers and more offers, because we're not going to accept less than what we need.
That same agency said that basically that, any type of, if they do have to shut down production there, that half of the fields in Iran are these low pressure fields, and that would destroy the oil and also to start to corrode and destroy the facilities themselves. So, this pressure within the next 12 days, 22 days could be finally where we end up. Congressman, it's great to see you as always. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
All right, Congressman Brian Mast. We will be right back, everybody.